Caitlin Clark just showed up on Hollywood Boulevard with this massive Nike billboard, and honestly, the timing is perfect. While some players are busy posting thirst traps on social media, trying to stay in the spotlight, Clark's face is literally lighting up one of the most famous streets on the planet. Angel Reese just watched her biggest rival get immortalized in lights, and you know that's gotta hurt. This completely shifts everything. What do you think? Is Angel Reese actually bothered by Caitlin Clark's Hollywood takeover, or has she moved past caring about the comparisons? Let me know what you think in the comments. So Clark has officially arrived in Hollywood, but not the way most WNBA players fantasize about, landing some throwaway role in a movie nobody remembers or popping up on reality TV that gets canceled after one season. Nope. Clark got herself plastered on Hollywood Boulevard with this enormous Nike billboard that literally thousands of people see every single day. We're not talking about some random highway sign in the middle of nowhere. This is Hollywood Boulevard, where the Walk of Fame lives, one of the most legendary streets in America, possibly the entire world. Hey Caitlin, think you can hit it from way over there?
From anywhere.
All right, Caitlin, how about some refreshments? Come on, everyone. No way she makes that shot. Caitlin, get over here. Don't even try it. You've got this. I'm not bothering to ask. Hey, Caitlin, from this spot it could be a gift. Don't let her attempt it. Whatever, Che. Right from this position, well, okay. Turns out she actually can pull it off. The billboard features Clark mid-action with this tagline that says you can't win, so win. It's Nike's big Super Bowl commercial campaign, starring a bunch of elite athletes like Jordan Chiles, Sabrina Ionescu, Sha'Carri Richardson, and Aja Wilson. The whole commercial runs to Led Zeppelin's Whole Lotta Love, with Grammy winner Doechii doing voiceover work about how female athletes constantly hear they can't accomplish certain things, so they should just go ahead and prove everyone wrong anyway. It's incredibly powerful messaging, and Clark sits right at the center, as one of the main faces driving this entire campaign. Let's get real about what this actually represents. Nike doesn't just throw anyone up on Hollywood billboards. They're not wasting premium advertising real estate on players who might have potential but haven't actually proven they can drive serious business results. This treatment gets reserved for the absolute elite, those athletes who break through their sports boundaries and transform into legitimate cultural icons. Michael Jordan earned billboards. LeBron James earned billboards. Kobe Bryant earned billboards. And now Caitlin Clark has her own billboard, dominating Hollywood Boulevard. That's exactly the level of company she's operating in right now. Clark shared it on Instagram, with multiple photos showing her Nike gear, captioning it with "You'll be told you can't do it, so do it anyway." That's pure Clark right there. Confident without crossing into arrogance, inspirational without getting preachy about it. She's developed incredible media awareness over these past few years, understanding precisely how to shape her message and build her personal brand. Nike clearly has massive faith in that brand, since they made her one of the primary focal points of their Super Bowl advertising investment. Let's break down why this matters, way beyond just the cool factor of seeing your face light up Hollywood Boulevard. Nike's Super Bowl commercials represent absolutely massive deals. The Super Bowl consistently ranks as the most watched television event across Aker year after year. Companies shell out millions of dollars to secure just 30 seconds of airtime during the game. Nike going all in on women's sports for their Super Bowl spot makes a serious statement. They're declaring that women's sports isn't some side project or charity case anymore. It's legitimate, it's profitable, and it deserves serious money behind it. Nicole Hubbard-Graham, Nike's chief marketing officer, explained to Fast Company that women athletes are completely demolishing records right now, packing stadiums, driving ticket sales, and securing contracts like nobody's ever witnessed before. She's absolutely correct about that. The 2024 WNBA season delivered viewership numbers that represented the best performance in 24 years. Games were completely sold out, merchandise was disappearing from stores, and the single biggest catalyst behind all that explosive growth, Caitlin Clark. Clark's rookie campaign was genuinely historic by every possible measurement. She smashed multiple WNBA records, captured Rookie of the Year honors, and attracted millions of brand new fans to women's basketball. People who had never bothered watching a single WNBA game in their entire lives were suddenly purchasing League Pass subscriptions specifically to follow her performances. Arenas that used to sit half empty were suddenly overflowing whenever the Indiana Fever rolled into town. That represents real star power. That's the type of transformative impact that makes Nike think, yeah, we absolutely need this person's face representing us on Hollywood Boulevard. Now let's address Angel Reese, because you know she's completely aware of this billboard situation. You know she witnessed it, and you know it probably stung, at least somewhat. Reese and Clark maintain this strange rivalry that originated during college and has carried over into the WNBA. Reese consistently positions herself as Clark's equal, sometimes even suggesting she's superior. She discusses how she's recording double-doubles, how she's controlling the boards, how she's won championships. All of those points are valid. Reese is definitely a skilled player. But here's the reality check. Being skilled and becoming a cultural phenomenon exist in completely different universes. Reese is a talented basketball player with a reasonable social media presence. Clark is a once-in-a-generation talent who has fundamentally transformed the economics and visibility of women's basketball. Those represent entirely different levels of impact and significance. Reese has worked extremely hard cultivating her personal brand and image. She makes podcast appearances, attends Fashion Week events, creates Instagram content. She's clearly attempting to build something that extends beyond just Kidsflint, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that approach. Athletes should definitely leverage their platform, while they still have access to it. But despite all that effort, despite all the self-promotion and brand development work, Reese isn't landing Nike billboards on Hollywood Boulevard. That reality has to create some frustration. The comparison becomes unavoidable, and it's absolutely brutal. Clark gets honored at NBA games. Clark gets Hollywood billboards. Clark gets featured in major Super Bowl commercials. Clark became the highest paid female athlete on the planet. Meanwhile, Reese is doing podcast episodes and posting on Instagram. The distance between them regarding cultural relevance and commercial value is absolutely enormous. In moments like this, Nike billboard make that distance impossible to ignore or downplay. What makes this situation even more fascinating is the actual messaging behind Nike's campaign. You can't win, so win. That's specifically targeting women who've been told they're not good enough, not strong enough, can't compete at the highest levels possible. It's about rejecting expectations and proving all the doubters completely wrong. And who represents that message better than Caitlin Clark, who spent her entire career getting doubted and then silencing everyone through her actual performance. Clark was told she couldn't shoot from those ridiculous distances. She transformed into one of the greatest long-range shooters in basketball history. She was told women's basketball couldn't attract massive audiences. She delivered record viewership to the entire sport. She was told the WNBA couldn't support legitimate superstar salaries. She became the highest-paid female athlete worldwide. At every single step, she's made people eat their words. That's exactly why Nike wants her face dominating their billboards. Sabrina Ionescu, who also gets featured in Nike's campaign, explained that women's sports isn't some future possibility. It's happening right now. We're watching it transform arenas and TV ratings as people show up for the game like never before in history. Commanding attention isn't about being the loudest person in the room. It's about making sure that when you step up, absolutely everyone takes notice. That final point becomes particularly relevant when you're comparing Clark and Reese. Reese is definitely the loudest person in the room. She's constantly talking, constantly promoting herself, constantly ensuring everyone knows she's present and accounted for. Clark, by contrast, simply steps up and forces everyone to take notice through her actual performance. She doesn't need to scream about how good she is. Her game does all the talking for her, and apparently, Nike believes her game deserves Hollywood Boulevard real estate. The timing of this billboard carries extra significance too. We're approaching the 2025 WNBA season, and expectations for Clark have reached absolutely astronomical levels. She's publicly stated she wants to reach #1 ranking this year. She wants to capture more championships. She wants to keep pushing women's basketball toward new heights. The Nike billboard serves as both a celebration of everything she's already accomplished and a bold statement about what everyone expects moving forward. For Angel Reese, this situation has to create frustration on multiple different levels. First, there's the obvious comparison problem. Clark gets Hollywood billboards, while Reese gets nothing. But beyond that surface issue, there's the deeper realization that no matter how intensely Reese works on her brand, no matter how many podcasts she records or fashion events she attends, she's probably never going to catch up to Clark regarding commercial appeal and cultural impact. That's simply the harsh reality of the current situation. Reese can record all the double-doubles she wants. She can dominate the boards every single night. She can win awards and earn all-star selections. All of that would be fantastic and absolutely worth celebrating. But she's not going to earn Nike billboards on Hollywood Boulevard unless she somehow dramatically increases her impact on the sport and on popular culture overall. Right now, that gap between her and Clark is absolutely massive and growing. The other players featured in Nike's campaign, A'ja Wilson, Sabrina Ionescu, Jordan Chiles, Sha'Carri Richardson, all sit at the absolute pinnacle of their respective sports. Wilson is arguably the best current player in the WNBA. Ionescu is a legitimate star who's helped expand women's basketball's reach. Chiles is an Olympic gymnast. Richardson ranks among the fastest women on earth. These aren't just good athletes. These are dominant, culture-shifting figures within their sports. That's the exact company Clark is keeping in this campaign. Where does Angel Reese fit into that conversation? She doesn't. At least not currently. Maybe she will eventually, but right now she's not operating on that level. And that's not hatred talking. That's just an honest evaluation of where things actually stand. Reese is a solid player having a decent career. Clark is a phenomenon who's changing the entire landscape of women's basketball. Those represent completely different categories. The Nike billboard also represents validation for everything Clark has accomplished so far. There were so many doubters when she entered the WNBA. People claim she wouldn't handle the physicality. They said her game wouldn't translate to professional competition. They insisted the hype surrounding her was overblown and she'd get exposed as just another good college player who couldn't succeed with the pros. She proved every single one of them wrong, and now she's getting celebrated by one of sports' biggest brands with a Hollywood Boulevard billboard. For Reese, the lesson here should be crystal clear. Talking yourself up only carries you so far. Eventually, you have to support it with performances and impact that nobody can deny or argue against. Clark has done that consistently. She's delivered on every bit of hype and then exceeded it dramatically. That's why Nike wants her face representing their brand in one of America's most visible locations. The Super Bowl commercial itself deserves examination too. Nike hasn't created a women's sports-focused Super Bowl advertisement since That's 27 years ago. The fact that they're doing it now and that Caitlin Clark serves as one of the centerpieces demonstrates how much women's sports has grown and how much Clark specifically has contributed to that growth. She's not just riding the wave of women's sports popularity, she's one of the primary reasons that wave is rising in the first place. Angel Reese can observe all of this unfolding. She can watch Clark earning the billboard, the commercials, the endorsements, the attention, and she has to question what she needs to do to reach that level. The answer isn't more Instagram posts or podcast appearances. The answer is becoming so undeniably excellent and so culturally relevant that brands like Nike have absolutely no choice but to feature you in their biggest campaigns. Clark achieved that. Reese hasn't. Yet. Maybe Reese will eventually get there. Maybe she'll have a breakout season where she dominates so completely that the entire conversation shifts. Maybe she'll capture a championship and become the face of that victory in a way that elevates her status permanently. It's definitely possible. But right now, in January 2025, Caitlin Clark has a billboard on Hollywood Boulevard and Angel Reese doesn't. That gap tells you absolutely everything you need to know about where they stand in women's basketball's hierarchy. Caitlin Clark just locked down a Nike billboard on Hollywood Boulevard, cementing her status as a cultural icon that transcends basketball completely. Angel Reese can keep talking about being on Clark's level, but billboards tell the real story. Nike invested their money and their premium advertising space in Clark for very specific reasons. If you want more unfiltered takes on women's basketball, smash that like button and subscribe right now.